It causes a really resentment inside of me when I see that people are extremely rich and they're not using their money for a good reason, in my opinion. Like they're not giving charity or something, and they just enjoy themselves, like their rich life.
It's very, very difficult to understand the test of a rich person. I know a person who's very, very rich and doesn't trust anybody. You know how much he doesn't trust anybody? He's afraid to get married. So I'm asking you, is he a selfish chazir who's just enjoying his wealth? Think about it. He's afraid that no one is ever going to marry him for who he is, and he doesn't want to do that. It's a rich man's prison. I said this before, it's very hard to be rich. It's a lot harder than you think. So when you see rich people behave a certain way, first of all, you never know what they're doing quietly. The Jew just passed away. I'll tell you the story. His name was Rabbi David Shachat, Olav Hashem, Achei Temimim. He was the Lubavitcher Rav in Toronto. He lived into his 90s. He was a chassid of the rebbe from the early years. He was a real god. He was a real true Torah scholar, a big god. And he got an invitation to go to someplace in America. He lived in Canada, maybe in Albany or Buffalo. Probably Buffalo because it's closer to Toronto. To speak to a group of Christian clergy, of Galachim. So it was in a different country, it's a different religion, so he wrote to the Rebbe. And the Rebbe told him that he should do it, and that he should speak about tzedakah. Because tzedakah is actionable, and it's not Jewish. Anybody can give. It's a religious act that any human being could, charity, giving. Jews have it in their blood, but not everybody does. So he went and he spoke. In the course of his speech, he told a story that in the city of Krakow, there was a man who was called the rich miser. Everybody hated him. He never gave a penny to tzedakah, to anybody. You'd knock on his door, he wouldn't even open the door. And then he died. Nobody went to his levaya. They buried him at the edge of the cemetery with dishonor. Comes Shabbos, and many, many people come to the Rav with a complaint that they have no food for Shabbos. There's no meat, there's no bread, there's no wine, there's no fish, So he says, I don't understand. What did you do last week? He says, last week you went to the store and they gave it for free. Now they don't want to give us anymore. And slowly but surely this picture began to develop. That this man, this chazer, this miser would go into all the shops and say, for this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, put it on my bill. Until he died, nobody knew. And the Tosfos Yom Tov, one of the greatest rabbis in the history of the Jewish people, was a partner to his dishonor, was shattered at the way he would go and stand by that Yid's grave. He buried him at the outskirts of the town, and he would beg him for forgiveness. The holy miser. The miser of Krakow, they called it, the miser of Krakow. And the Tosfos Yom Tov left a note that when he dies, they should bury him near him. It's a beautiful story, and there are stories like this, more than one. So you never know, the rich person that you don't like, you have no idea what they're up to. You don't know, you'll never know. Anyway, Rabbi David Shachat goes to Buffalo and speaks this whole speech to a bunch of clergy, and a man gets up and says, do you mind repeating that story a second time? And Rabbi Shachat says, no. I'm in the middle of a talk, you want to hear it again, you come to my hotel, I'll tell you again. Anyway, he came to his hotel the next day, please repeat the story. So he repeats it to him again. He says, please the third time. He says, I don't know what you want from me, but you're being a nudnik. Now I know you're not Jewish, but nud and nud is bad, nik is bad, nudnik is really bad. So he tells him, I'm a descendant of the miser. Wow. He was raised as a Christian. I forgot the details, but his mother called him right before she died and told him that she's a Jew and he's Jewish, but she went through a very hard life and she married a Christian, and the children baptized or raised as Christians. She wanted to know that he's Jewish, and he was a Galach. And Rabbi Shachat is a descendant of the Tosfos Yom Tov. You imagine? These two souls met 300 years after the fact, and there was a reversal. The Tosfos Yom Tov felt very bad. They disrespected the miser of Krakow, and now his descendant brought back to Tshuva a descendant of the miser of Krakow. That was the story that we were discussing Friday night. Rabbi Shachat just passed away, so this story's been around. It's making the rounds again. And of course, the Rebbe is involved in the story. Go talk about tzedakah, you know. That's all the Rebbe did. Go talk about tzedakah. It's enough. So, number one, wealth is a test. And it makes you crazy. It does. It's not even about holding on to your money. It's about not being taken advantage of. Nobody tells you the truth. They used to say that in every city, no one is honest with the Rav and the rich man. But the rich man is worse off than the Rav, because at least the rich man will be honest with the Rav. But the Rav is not going to be honest with the rich man. You know how it is to live your life and no one tells you the truth? Ever? Think about it. If you have $100 million, wherever you walk in the show, oh, Moshe, was machste. Nobody ever tells you, no, I can't stand you. It gets to you start to think, it's not so easy to have so much money. It isn't. Again, I'll take it if he'll give it to me, and I'll figure out how to not go crazy. But it's a test. It's not so push it.